Understand these poles of comprehension and composition. It's important. If you look towards the old at the same time too, you can see some kind of motivation in terms of standards and process.
Survival.
Yes, and you look towards the young, you see eagerness, and fortified, energy, well, not necessarily pointed energy, but it's fortified because it's within the confines of that body, that youthfulness.
Right.
But there are two very important poles of life that we must pay attention to. Because in the center, you can go, either backward or forward.
Right. So how do you feel about this 50th anniversary of the March on Washington?
I think it's the significance of it is that it's part of the tribute of our people in trying to bring some kind of civilized behavior to America and its government and its
civilized
concept of the Constitution, to put some kind of life into it, to give some kind of meaning to it. It just shows our capabilities of people to give again, to give to something that has purpose behind it, but may not have been noted by the people who first installed it as a constitution or as a particular way of life. I think we're the instruments of life as a human beings in terms of the black race. And we just have to keep pushing forward to let people know that wrong is not right and that they can't continue to get away with it. And I think this anniversary just speaks to that continuation of our struggle in this country to go from one phase to the next. We call it civil rights and all that. I think that's just a manifestation to get to the next stage of human rights and our Africanness as a people, and these are the processes we had to use. So it's not a question of how I feel about it as much as just being an observer of it and a participant because our people are involved, so I can't avoid it, because I love my people. But as far as America is concerned and what we have done in here, I think it has given it some kind of clarity and some type of humanity. And anything we've done, that has been the reason for doing it, trying to bring some humanity to this place. But I'm more concerned about what's going to happen henceforth. Do we continue to have these anniversaries, or do we take them to the next phase?
Ooh. And what do you feel the next phase is?
As I stated to you in other conversations, we are in a state of what one would prescribe as a metamorphosis of a process. And because of that, the growth and the developments that we will be involved with is going to take us to the finalization, or the concept, I should say, of really who we are. And I think the next phase of who we are will not only place us in a better position in America, but in the world. And who we are will also have a lot to do with some kind of land, some kind of place, some kind of direct involvement in land, in our heritage, in our being. And that has to come to me, and I mean, as far as I'm concerned, through actually where we came from to even get here.
Gotcha.
You know,
and how vast is Africa?
You're looking at a continent that is approximate of 12.5 million square miles. And you're talking about a continent that you could put America in about 3 times and still have some left over. And you're looking at, in size, the second largest landmass in the world. How large is it geographically is one part, but how large is it economically? How large is it from a resource point of view? That's a whole nother question. And I think those are the things that we need to get into and really begin to make some headway with and begin to break down and analyze a little bit closer, because personally speaking, I don't think any of us as a people, as a black people, are going to survive nowhere in the world without that continent. And the quicker we can learn that and understand that, the better we're going to be, because this false prophecy that we've been going along with about America is the home of the brave and the land of the free is a testament to why we're having the 50th anniversary in Washington.
Wow.
And somewhere inside that home of the free and the land of the free and the home of the brave, that is, there's a contradiction between that and the 50th anniversary. And this is why we're going to have to turn inwardly and begin to go into not only who we are, but where we actually came from, and what do that mean in these days and in the future days ahead of us. And I think that's the criteria that we're going to have to look at, because America is not in a position to feed all of us. I'm talking about black people. America is not in a position to clothe all of us. I'm talking about black people, to house all of us, and to give us the proper nourishment that we need, and the concern that we have, and also fulfill these concerns that we have.
Wow.
Africa is going to have to do that, because Africa, the way it sits in the world, is really the breadbasket of the world.
And how long has it been feeding the world?
Well, to tell you the truth, this concept that they have in the world about the Last Supper, if you look at it in terms of reality, it wasn't the Last Supper, and it was a prejudice example of a Last Supper, you know. And if you put it in the deity form, it really don't even speak of a deity, it speaks of selfishness, you know, by a group of people. And the reason I brought that into play, because Africa has been feeding the world for thousands of years. Be it minerals or food stuff or whatever we want to name. I mean, I don't think many of us really understand what Africa gives to the world, you know.
So why would you think the turmoil in Africa is going on now?
Well, it's because of the very fact that we are here. That turmoil started when we left to come here, the way we came here. And this concept that we were slaves, I don't think that's a true statement. That thing came out of Germany some way, from some Slovaks or something like that.
Gotcha.
We're just military captives of a military conflict. And like any other people that have been captured because of the turn of the war, and the conflict turned somewhat not in our favor. And so the war is not over. It don't mean that we're totally lost. And so what we're doing now is regathering our forces and begin to make another onslaught and make sure that we let everybody know that this is not over.
Tell me about this. You spoke of the spiritual nature making a statement in the universe right now.
Well, it's evident, you know. I mean, whether you look at the fires that are taking place in the national park now out in California, or you look at the tsunamis that came about from the ocean, and you look at about the concept of if you got into astrology and understood some of the emotions and the concept of the universe and how things are lining up in the universe. If you look at the very nature and the attitude of people, there's a series of people, a serious change taking place. And a lot of us don't know what's going on because we're not paying attention. It's not just about white people and black people or the laws of Atlanta or Georgia and our people and why things are happening the way it's happening. It's a lot to do with nature as a whole. It's not just the cold climates that are melting. Everything is melting down, you know what I mean, and changing. You know, it's not just happening in one place. But that requires study and understanding, you know. And so I tell our people, what's taking place today is going to be a better reward for us as a people, because you got to discard a lot of this stuff and redefine it, you know what I mean? And so we are caught in a situation like any other part of nature. We're no different. Just because we're people, that don't mean we are excluded from the happenings or the behavior of nature. That's not so. The reason we're not so quick to be quiet anymore, all this is coming through the reactions of the universe and concepts of the universe that gives us life and help us to sustain ourselves. And without those forces of the universe, we couldn't do it.
And it's very important for us to know ourselves. And we spoke of earlier about the young folk and how they are using certain musical lyrics to express themselves. How important is it for us as a people, young people, old people, to allow that expression to go forth?
Well, it's part of the process, you know. Our young people are doing what young people do. They're challenging the status quo, and as far as the terms that they're using, such term as a nigger, the word nigger, you know, I think that word is really shouldn't even be associated with us in terms of feelings, because that's showing that we have accepted what somebody else has said. You know, it's like a hearsay thing. They say you're a nigger, so you take it on and try to defend it. Actually, it has nothing to do with us. You know, anybody can be a nigger. You know, what does that mean? You know what I mean? What land is that related to? What territory is it related to? Who said it? And by the way, is the person who said that, were they really niggers, or they just, you know, tried to throw some hate that they had on for themselves off on somebody else? We're African people. We're not nigger people. You know what I mean? That don't fit. I mean, and yet we defend these words. That's nonsense. You know, and we make our children look like they're being out of order. They're not being behaved properly. You know, because we're trying to defend something that somebody said, which is hearsay. It has nothing really to do with us. But it's a psychological blunder if we continue to try to defend this nonsense.
Gotcha.
You know?